Right, so Ryan Russillo of Russillo and Cannell fame joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing, Carrie?
Just living the life. So can we talk about Celtics for a minute, or do you want to talk about anything else?
No, let's do it. Let's do Boston.
Okay, let's do Boston. So they seem to be in a win-win situation. First world problems, as Amino Hassan said, whether they make a move or not. But I want you to talk to me about, because I believe there are some pros and cons. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, the pros of this would be if Butler or Paul George are available today and those teams are willing to move them because they covet that Nets pick so much, which I think is the most valuable asset the Celtics have right now, then you're finally adding the piece that Celtics fans feel like the front office has been waiting for. Because if they were to be offered those players and say, no, we're still not really ready to move that pick, then I'd ask, like, which is the guy that you're waiting for then down the road if you're willing to pass on these two guys that are this good? Now, the con would be if you don't make this move, that pick in theory becomes less valuable when we know exactly where it falls. So today it's like a chance, right? Today this pick is a chance at being number one, but we all know how the odds usually play out on this thing. It's not a guarantee. And on draft night, depending on how the draft breaks down, how other teams evaluate the talent at the top, you could be sitting there saying, we wanted to hold off, we want to see where this thing is. And if it ends up not being the number one overall thing, these players may not even be available this summer, and that pick may not be looked at the same. Now, there is a really small thing to add to this. Most of the teams that I do talk to, though, feel like with this draft, even though we're a ways away from this thing, feel like it's not the end of the world, like, say, the last summer's draft, if you were to fall out of the top two, or if you have the fourth pick or something like that, it may not be that big of a gap with the guys at the very top.
All right, that's fair. So then if you were a betting man, maybe you are, I don't know, do the Celtics make a move today?
I never think anything's going to happen, okay? Because we spend so much time on the phone and we're chasing down these things. You're like, how is that a rumor? Like, that was something from a week ago that I think somebody wrote and then ended up on Reddit. So I would bet against almost any of these things happening, but I always want to just confirm to everybody that there's so many things that do happen that as much time as we spend on the phones, as much as we try to chase this stuff down, it doesn't mean that we're always plugged into every single possible deal. But I just would say this. If Paul George or Jimmy Butler are made available to the Celtics for that pick and another young piece and Crowder and some other contract stuff to make it work, I can't imagine that they would turn that offer down because, like I said in the beginning, who is the player that you're waiting for if those two guys wouldn't be good enough? Okay,
so who to you, if you were Danny Ainge and you had your choice, what would make sense for that roster?
I actually think the Paul George possibilities make more sense right now from talking to other teams. Now, almost every team goes, look, if Butler were to move, George are going to move, the Celtics can really control this depending on what they want to give up here. And from what I've heard late into last night, it's that the Pacers have been active reaching out to other teams, asking about their best players and saying, do you think Paul George is a little bit better than maybe your best player? Well, would you want to do that kind of deal? The thing is, and in the NBA, the way the NBA world works is that if you have your players that are really good, that are under contract, that are happy in your city and make good money, and you don't have to worry about their contracts, then you don't move those players. And you would tell the Pacers, hey, Paul George is your problem, so we'd move smaller pieces for him, but we're not trading you our best player for him. Now, I think the George position right now from other teams in the league is that he is more available because Indiana is afraid about what it's going to be next summer when he becomes a free agent.
Yeah, next summer. So whoever has him, though, for this time being, as Wendy just said, maybe stressed out because he'll have that option. Ryan Russillo, thank you so much for joining us, blessing us, and gracing us with your presence here on Coast to Coast. Maybe you can come back again.
Yeah, whenever. Let me know.
Yeah, I will. Tony, back to you.